just went to the Santaquin Preparedness Fair, which was put on by multiple stakes of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and it was great. There was amazing people there that had lots of really good ideas on how we can be prepared and how we can help out other people be prepared. It was phenomenal. I want to take you through a virtual tour of that fair so you can get an idea of, what you might have missed out on. And walk you through some of the booths and tell you about some of the classes that I saw. I can share with you some of the things that I saw and that I enjoyed. But one of the first ones I visited was heating and cooking. In the heating and cooking, the individual who gave this presentation, he had a lot of examples of different ways that you can heat and cook your food. So heat for yourself as well as heating your food. And I got some pictures. Here's a shot where we're kind of panoraming around and we're kind of seeing some of the things that he had available. He had different types of cook stoves, some heating implements. He had a solar oven there, and he had a generator for generating electricity. Had some lanterns that can also provide heat, and different types of rocket stoves and some other stoves that he had names for that I don't remember. Another good reason to go there yourself, because I'm not going to be able to remember everything these people know, and they just have some really good stuff. He had an example of a homemade cast iron Dutch oven setup, and it was like a tripod. I have a picture of it right here. The individual who put on this display also did a class on the exact same topic, and his class was amazing. And on the PowerPoint presentation, he went into a lot of details of different types of cooking implements that you can use and different ideas in, like a grid down situation or a power outage situation. Different ideas for how you can keep your house warmer and also be able to keep the sunlight in the windows. As you can see from this picture, someone's putting some sort of plastic wrap on their windows to insulate. He had some really good ideas, and I hope that he comes back and gives us another presentation next time around. But if you missed it, you can catch it. But this is some really good information here. Another booth that was there was one on ham radios. They had lots of good information about using ham radios. It was the Utah County Amateur Radio Emergency Service organization, and they put out a bunch of pamphlets. You can see them here on their table. They also had a lot of QR codes. I took some images of the QR codes, so if you're looking at this or here, you can take a screenshot and maybe go visit some of these sites that give you lots of really good information on ham radios. They had examples of different types of ham radios that you can use and information on how to use them. They also had tons of channel informations. In our area, there's lots of channels that you can tune into with a ham radio set. You have to have a license in order to use a ham radio set. And so they talk about how to get a license for ham radio set. And they had pamphlets and handouts on how you can find the information to be able to learn and take that test. And then they had just sheets of different channels of ham radio stations that you can tune into. And they explain that it's not just good enough to buy a ham radio and say, I'm going to have this in an emergency, but you need to know what channels to tune into because there's so many channels. I guess he said they weren't channels. He corrected me, actually. They weren't channels, they're frequencies. And so you can be off just by a little bit and you'll be off completely. And it's not just like hitting the channel button like on a TV and going between it. You actually have to tune into a very specific frequency to catch what they're trying to tell you. So they had sheets of information telling you, what channels to look for in an emergency situation. They also talked about some local ham nets. These are basically they get on there and they start chatting. We have one in our stake as well, and also our city has one, and Santaquin has one. And these nets, they basically are emergency net that they'll test it out once every month. And as they're running that test, you can tune in and make sure that you can catch the test. And I'll do it once. I have a ham radio, so I'm gonna tune into it next time, and I'll post a video of me doing so later. But yeah, test out your ham radio. Make sure you can hear the emergency net if they're broadcasting, because they'll run that broadcast even if in a grid down situation where there's an emergency. They'll run that net and just say, hey, if you're having troubles, tune in and we'll tell you what's going on and where we're providing help and whatnot. And at least you'll have some information. They run that net even on a grid down because they have a power backup, and so they'll broadcast. So good thing to test out. He had some really good information on an app that you can use. And so I have a picture right here in that I'm showing about the app and what the app looks like, and it'll give you a whole bunch of different ideas of channels in your region that you can go to. Here's a contact information. So the individual in Santaquin, he handed me his contact card. You know, if you want to get in touch with him and find out more information in our Santaquin area, this is a good way to get a hold of him. Uh, Another booth that I really enjoyed was just kind of seeing what people are doing for their food storage. There was a food storage booth out there. They showed some of the stuff they had done in their freeze dryer and gave you examples and let you taste a few samples of what they did in the freeze dryer. And then they had some pictures of the freeze dryer that they're using and ideas of different freeze dryers you can use. Another one was home repair and electric and gas, and how to know where to go to shut it off if there's an emergency situation and you shut off your gas. So there was somebody there to talk you through that, professional plumber. He gave you an idea of how to pack some of your tools in a toolbox. He had a really cool backpack toolbox there, you can see. And some good information that you just can't find anywhere else unless you know this stuff or you know to Google it. But I didn't even know what to Google until I saw these boards, so that's some good information. There was also some individuals there who were doing Dutch oven cooking and kind of showing how they do their Dutch oven cooking, and then they gave you samples of all this yummy food that they made while they were there, and so you could go and see them cook it and also see and taste the results of it, and so that was really fun. You can see some of these really cool pictures of what they ate and what they shared with everyone. Another one was there was a young man there who was 17. He was presenting on 72-hour kits and bug out bags, and he's really into 72-hour kits and having prepared kits around. So he did this all himself, and it looked really good. He gave us examples of different types of 72-hour kits you can put together. Got to remember that even your animals need 72-hour kits. So if you're going to have bug out bags, make sure you make one for them. And gave you examples of how much stuff you can fit in a bag before it gets too heavy. And then also what kind of kits you should have in your car. Here on this right, you can see kind of ice scrapers and sleeping bags and different things you should include in your car kits. And so he had all this information. And on his bulletin board, he gave contact information for Be Ready Utah, and Be Ready Utah provides a whole bunch of lists that you can access. They set out a really cool medical supplies. You can see kind of some of these examples of medical supplies you can bring around with you. I think one of the ideas was, you know, if you have a medical kit, even if you're not trained how to use it, that medical kit can help someone who is trained how to use it. So you might have a nurse in your community, but they don't have any of the medical supplies. So somebody has a laceration and you show up with your medical kit and you're like, oh, by the way, I have a kit that you can use to, you know, fix up that wound on that person who got sliced open. And if they have the skills, they may not have the equipment, and you bring the equipment, and then you save somebody's life. Also, the fire department showed up in force. It was great. They came and they showed off their ambulance and their fire truck, and you were able to go in there and climb into the ambulance, and the kids were able to check it all out. It was a really cool experience for the kids. One year, not this year, but one year they had a helicopter fly in. That was really cool. You could climb into that. They brought a fire truck, so if your kids love fire trucks, the opportunity to go over there, climb into the fire truck, try on their backpacks, and just kind of see what it looks like and feels like inside one of those big fire trucks, and all the equipment that they need to be able to fight those fires. And then just to see the fire truck. I mean, kids love seeing fire trucks up close, so that was a really good experience for all the little guys out there, and little guys and gals that just enjoyed seeing those fire trucks. So anyway, if you didn't make it to the Santaquin Preparedness Fair, there will be another one in 6 months. Payson also puts on one of these preparedness fairs. They put it on at their police station. And I've been to that one, and it's really good. They always have fun show up there as well. That one, because it's not done in a church building, they're actually able to let vendors come. And so vendors will come and show off their wares, and you can find ideas of where to buy things and buy some of these stuff that you're seeing on all of these boards and people showing them off. But then there's also the presenters there that are just there for free. You know, they're just there to have fun and share what they've learned and share with other people. And so that one's going to be happening. I'll post when a date is set for the next fair so that you can make it there. I really encourage you to come to these preparedness fairs because there's nothing better than learning from someone who's already learned the information rather than trying to figure it all out on your own. You can get a contact information, and a lot of these people are so nice. They'll give you contact information so that you can touch base with them even outside of the fair and get ideas for how to do things, and they can point you in the right direction if you want to learn how to, you know, create a camp stove on your own, or you want to learn how to use certain types of camp stoves, or you're looking for one, or find someone who has a freeze dryer and you can learn a little bit more about that before you invest heavily in one because they're like $5,000 or something like that. So find out from someone who has a freeze dryer what it's like, what they enjoy freeze drying. Try some of their freeze dried stuff. Get in touch with people who've been there and done that so that you don't have to learn from mistake. You can learn from other people's mistakes and save your own. So yeah, this was a really great fair, and I hope you make it to the next one.